This is gonna sound like pretty crazy, or not crazy, but like, I guess innocent or like stupid, so a little bit. Like, why didn't you realize that before? But I feel like growing up, I think that I grew up with this understanding of the world that was very skewed. I mean, like, I guess honestly, like, how can you have a like correct quote unquote perception of the world when you're young? Um, but I had like a very incorrect, very painful one, and to think I've to be honest, like there are like good parts of that. Like, all like there maybe in the past I thought that maybe something was really like stained, or something was really like I didn't like this aspect of how society worked. I'm like, oh, it's always gonna be that like that. But when I experience new things, I'm like, oh wait, maybe that's challenging my negative views I had in the past, where I'm like, maybe it isn't like all bad. But then there's also the other side of it that I feel like people really don't talk about, and I think it's okay. For example, when I was like a kid and when I was growing up, I had this idea that was misconstrued. I had this belief that if I was nice to people, they would be nice back. And I thought that's just how the world, like in my head, that was like logical. Like I'm like, hey, if I put this energy out, I should be, getting that in return, like I expected that. And I feel like I still function a little bit with that like idea. Like when I don't know, present myself in a certain way where I'm like, hey, or like vulnerable, I'm like, hey, like, this is like, maybe like a class introduction, or standing up to give like a presentation or something like that. Like you're putting yourself in like kind of this vulnerable state. You immediately are kind. You immediately are like, hey, this is me. And then you kind of expect, well, at least me, I thought that this vulnerability, this kind of um kindness I was displaying, would alert the other kind and other vulnerable people in the room to kind of pick up on that and be like, hey, this is me, or level out the playing field, if that makes sense. But I think that nowadays that doesn't really happen anymore. And I don't know if it's because overall I feel like people are having less social interactions on the daily, with social media and like the internet, how, people have been connecting differently because of that. But even in like, normal in real life settings, when I'm face to face with a person, I don't really feel that anymore. I don't really see it happening either. Maybe I haven't been as observant as I claim to be, but like I'm not really picking up on that. And I've always been this very like highly sensitive, empathetic person, and to not be able to like see that, it's kind of like what's going on. And I think it's because people have kind of dialed out of their perceptive abilities, and they're kind of like dialed out of their sensitivity and vulnerability in general, which is you can't blame them because of the world that we live in today, and with all the backlash that you get, and criticisms that you get from literally anything that you do ever. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, so when I think about like my misconceptions that I had, I really try to frame it in a way where I was like I want that to be true. If I'm nice, I want somebody else to be nice because of it. If even if they were having a bad day, like I want us to be able to be influenced and influential in the same way, I want us to be able to meet on the same kind of level. Even if it is with somebody that you don't know. Like I want strangers to be more I want there to be more reciprocity in kindness and general humanity, like, is that I say is that so much to ask, but to be honest, it really is. To be honest, like, especially when you go through really bad experiences in life, everybody has that, either one or many, that they kind of like look back on in their life and they're like, damn, like that really shaped me negatively. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. Well, yeah, I just went on a rant, but I think that's where I should end the video. I don't know, I feel like it was getting kind of tangential. Is that a word? I don't even know. But I'm angry, and I'm obviously frustrated because I want us to reciprocate humanity. I want us to kind of mesh, ebb, flow, connect, and pass each other, and then reconnect and do the normal things that we as humans are supposed to do. And I feel like that's seriously lacking. Yeah, I wonder, to be honest, I wonder how this is gonna affect us. And I feel like if we don't dial back in on those kinds of, habits and, ways of life, we're really gonna, I feel like that apathy is gonna be the precursor, and it already is the precursor for many other bad things to happen, many other ignorant things to happen. It's kind of like we're dissolving into this kind of society where we encourage apathy. If anything, like, it's more quote unquote normal because everybody's feeling this way. Everybody's feeling depressed, everybody's on antidepressants, everybody's struggling, and all of that, all that pain, if we allow it to consistently turn us into apathetic individuals, then what are we really losing here? Are we okay with just being satisfied with, oh yeah, I feel shitty too? Or is it okay to not be okay with that? Like, that's a problem. We can't just all sit here and be like, yeah, it's horrible. What are we gonna do? Like, we gotta do something. Like, sure, like, I like it when people mention the fact that, I'm not saying this to, like, ding on, people who talk about their problems or anything like that. Like, obviously, you need to be talking about your problems and you need to be communicating that. But it's just, I feel like we as a society, we're not really paying attention to the after effects of that. And sure, there are positive ones, like, like sharing a sorrow is half a sorrow and whatnot, but I don't want this to become something where we as a society, we collectively push towards, like, what's the word? Like a dejection of life. Like we're succumbing to this, and this is how it has to be. I don't want it to be like that, because it doesn't have to be like that. I want it to be, if anything, a growth, like prospective things in the future, like prospering. I want to use those kinds of words. I don't want to use, like, dejection. I don't want to, like, go down like a rung on a ladder. Like, I want to be moving forward, and I think that if we continue to make excuses for the world around us, it's gonna make us apathetic. It's gonna make us fall in love with our pain. It's gonna make us worse off. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. This is kind of interesting, so if I write like a paper on this, I want to know if anybody would care to read it. Yeah, but thank you for listening. It means a lot. I hope this reaches somebody. Bye!